We live in a world ruled by tyranny, where knowledge is suppressed and ignorance is glorified. A world where propaganda and misinformation travel the airways at the speed of lies. But in the midst of the violence and chaos, a great awakening is taking place. And as the media empires continue to collapse, a new network is forming. A network of truth, a network of courage, a network of awareness. Peace and greetings. You are now tuned into the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, where we examine current events, politics, health, finance, and topics of cultural relevance in America and throughout the world, while bringing you insightful interviews with guests that will both educate and inspire you. And now, your host of the Network of Awareness podcast radio station, ORRA the Informationalist.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo. How you doing? How you doing?
My aura is a network full of awareness and gifts like ORRA, the informationalist.
Peace and greetings, people. This is ORRA the Informationalist. You're now tuned in to a live broadcast of the Network of Awareness. And it's approximately 7:04 a.m. And this is Tuesday. This is a Tightrope Tuesday, February 7th. And today's episode is going to be an interesting one. It's part of the Smoke and Mirrors Media, baby. Let's go. We got to break it down today because today's episode, which I didn't get to tell you guys, let me take care of that now. Today's episode says, look, it's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's China. So we're going to talk about that. And really what we're going to talk about is not the balloon per se. What we're really going to talk about is how this government, the United Shenanigans of America, which is one of the worst governments ever known to mankind, is doing a number on us, people. And this is serving as a great distraction. Now, a lot of people say that balloon should have been shot down a long time ago. Yeah. But when you got a geriatric president that is nothing but pro-China and is doing a lot of things behind the scenes. And I think a lot of people don't know the influence that China has here, aside from export and commodities and goods. They have a large amount of influence as far as government and building infrastructure within the United States. And something that I'm going to point out, and this is just a theory, but I think there's going to be a war eventually. And I think that balloon is serving as a form of surveillance on how they're strategically going to go about that war. And if you ever saw that movie, I think it was the G.I. Joe movie. Forgot the name of it, but it was the second one. And in that second movie, where they show, I believe it was Korea, I think it was North Korea that invaded, okay, the United States. Don't think that can't happen. And a lot of times Hollywood is showing you a lot. They just do it in a very artistic, creative way. But a lot of it is always based on truth, because Satan's always got to show you what he's got going, what he's got brewing, and what he's going to do. So without further ado, let's get it popping. And what I want to do right now is I want to play a song that's debuting here on the Network of Awareness, because you know how we do. And there's new music coming out with a couple of the brothers and myself. So looking forward to that. You know, I got a new track coming out soon. So I'm just going to drop it on y'all, just like I'm about to drop this. So before we start the show, let's get into this. And I'm going to play a very spiritual song for my spiritual brothers and sisters from around the world. And this song is a song by Brother Take One. And this song is called Better Things, featuring Yafi, also known or used to be Akmar, but it's now Yafi. So let's let the brothers do their thing, and we're going to come right back here on the Network of Awareness, baby. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
Hold on, be calm. There's a lot for you and a lot for me. Hold on, be strong. It's close to be, oh yes indeed. This world is cold and it's cursed, ain't no fixing that. This world is sold for the gold, I ain't feeling that. I'd rather wait on Elohim or King of Kings who fills my life with better things.
My brother keep fighting daily. The world is mighty shady, it isn't just kinda crazy. Amazing, we still here because Abba has shed his mercy. Messiah shed his blood for us even though we ain't worthy. But the mercy, I gotta reiterate for the second time, cause if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be alive. We all been brought at a price, we should be shouting for Christ. You're the way, you're the truth, and you're the life. What would I do without you? This world, it makes me sick, but there you are to comfort me through it all. My medicine. Don't get worried or get discouraged, it's in the plan. The day will come when we won't be under curses of man. But for now, it's daily practice, dashing for that penny. The enemy's looking fast to snatch it, that's a massive win. He's laughing, grinning, racking many. I pray you don't lose it. It's the season, bigger demons. I pray that you slash your many.
Don't be calm. There's a lot for you and a lot for me. Hold on, be strong. It's close to be, oh yes indeed. This world is cold and it's cursed, ain't no fixing that. This world is sold for the gold, I ain't feeling that. I'd rather wait on Elohim or King of Kings who fills my life with better
Father,
things.
teach me your way so I can walk in your truth. Unite my heart to feel your name and let it straight since the youth. I never thought I'd see the day I make a change, so it's proof that your spirit alive and well. I love the fruit it produce, a living testimony. I lean on Messiah when my feet get tired. Where is words in my heart, not on my attire. This real cold, bundle up or you might expire. Learned how to trust in Elohim when my vision cloudy. I know he got me, weight get heavy, he spot me. Give me strength and endurance, his word be my assurance. Don't stop walking, keep your head up, it might get tough, but be strong, never give up, We at the end, it's wartime till the day it stop. Draw your sword for the battle, can't have no souls lost. Look, we gon' keep the faith, he gon' go before us. I pray he order our steps, so we can stay the course. Yeah.
Hold on, be calm. There's a lot for you and a lot for me. Hold on, be strong. It's close to be, oh yes indeed. This world is cold and it's cursed, ain't no fixing that. This world is sold for the gold, I ain't feeling that. I'd rather wait on Elohim or King of Kings who fills my life with better things.
Beds, money.
And that's how we do it on the Network of Awareness. We don't play around. Shout outs to brother Afi and Yafi and Take One. Looking for many other bangers to be coming onto this show, as we always do. We got so much music on this network, man. It's just crazy. Like, I wish I had more time to play more music within one segment. But usually what I do is every once in a while I'll do a show where I play anywhere from 3 to 5 hours of music and talk in between. So that way Spreaker doesn't tell me that I can't do that. brothers and sisters, for those that are interested, just a couple of announcements. There's a new podcast on the network, and it's from the Body of Christ Church, the BOCC. And if you are interested in hearing life being broken down through the word of the Most High and in the form of classes and lessons that need to be learned, and the scriptures being brought out the right way, being interpreted the right way, listen to the Council on Christ Relations podcast. It's a new podcast that's out, and Brother Aban and myself are going to be doing a live broadcast today at 11 a.m. It's going to be a spiritual fire and fellowship series. So I'm taking my spiritual fire and fellowship series over to the Council on Christ Relations moving forward. And the podcast already had a debut episode last Friday. And there's going to be plenty of brothers and sisters from the BOCC that are going to be on the podcast throughout the week, every week, daily. So stay tuned for that. And if you want to join in, it's the Council on Christ Relations, and there's a live broadcast airing today. So, and if you want to get that broadcast, obviously you got to listen on Spreaker like you're listening now if you're tuning in. But of course, if you want to get the archived episode after it's done, it's available where all podcasts are played. Now, before I go into, who we're going to talk about today. So we're going to talk about America. Fuck yeah. Okay, so I wanted to say real quick, since I was talking about how Hollywood shows you, the truth within the lie and the lie within the truth, because Satan's always got to let you know what he's going to do, because it's part of that universal law that the Most High has set throughout the universe. I want to talk about this movie real quick that I saw yesterday. I saw Black Panther Part 2 yesterday for the first time. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm different. There are some things I liked about the movie, but overall, I think it sucked. Because, and the reason I say that is because this whole feminine goddess principle and agenda that Hollywood's been pushing for quite some time, the female goddess principle and all this other stuff, it's getting ridiculous, man. Now, I could tell you that the princess, which is Black Panther's sister, I forgot her name, but she had a lot of narcissistic personality traits in the movie. She was very grandiose and very just like, I'm going to do what I want to do type of mentality. And it's just interesting how Hollywood is pushing this as much as they can. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist or a genius to figure out this agenda is being pushed hard. And this is one of the reasons why it's so hard for men out here and women too. But I'm just talking from a man's perspective, because that's all I can speak about, because I am a man. I identify as a man of the Most High. That it's hard to get into a relationship these days. It's hard to find something meaningful. And I'm not saying it's hard to get a relationship, because it's easy. I could walk downtown and I'll probably be hooked up by the time I leave. And I'm not even joking. Where there's a will, there's a way, especially if you're easy on the eyes. But this thing with this narcissism and this feminine goddess principle that Hollywood is pushing, and you saw it a lot in the personality of the princess and of the queen too. And women are becoming more like men, and men are becoming more like women. Now, granted, I'm not saying all, but a large majority are now. And a lot of women that I've spoken to, that I brought on this show, have brought that out plenty of times. I'm not the only one. A lot of women are seeing this. A lot of women are seeing what their great grandmothers and grandmothers worked so hard to achieve, as far as the place of a woman in coincidence and parallel, as far as the energy and the principles when it comes to a marriage and a relationship with a man, and how those two forces are that Holy Spirit of the Most High. And in this movie, I just saw a lot of nonsense. But what I did like, there was certain things I did like. So one thing I did like is that they showed, I guess it was the Aztecs, Mayan culture, but it showed how that melanated people, which are not just so-called black people, have experienced the curses, and the curses being the terms of enslavement. And I was happy that they showed that, because a lot of you people that think this 1619 thing is mad real and you got all these documentaries, they do that on purpose. They want you to think that millions and millions of so-called Africans were brought here on a ship to serve slavery. And that's so far from the truth, because it wasn't millions upon millions. Millions upon millions were already enslaved here in what's known as America and South America and the Caribbean. And it was going on for a long, long time before the 1619 project, or whatever you want to call it, way before that. And the scriptures said that the children of Israel, the children of the Most High, were going to be scattered on all four corners of the planet way before 1619. And that's just a fact. And that's what's happened. So I'm glad that they got to show that, because that is the truth. They showed a little clip of it. It wasn't nothing crazy, but it got to show that there's more than meets the eye. There's way more, because everything we've been taught here in the United Shenanigans of America has been a lie. That's just a fact. It's been a lie, people. And many of us are waking up to that. So speaking of lies and a long legacy of it, who is one of the institutions that is one of the biggest proponent of putting the lies out to keep you distracted? Well, it's the Smoke and Mirrors Media. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the Smoke and Mirrors Media. So let's hear what they got to say. And we're going to cut up a couple of clips here. And let me see if I can bring it up just a little bit. And here we go.
Tonight, the suspected Chinese spy balloon on the move across the U.S. The Pentagon saying the balloon, roughly the size of 2 school buses, is moving east over the central U.S. Chinese officials disputing that it's a spy balloon, what they claim it is. The diplomatic fallout, Secretary of State Antony Blinken postponing a trip to Beijing next week, and why the military hasn't shot it down. Also tonight, the once-in-a-generation Arctic blast from the Midwest to the Northeast. Life-threatening cold and historic wind chills as low as 60 below. How long will it last? A surprising new jobs report. The U.S. adding more than 500,000 jobs in January, crushing expectations. But does it spell...
Yeah, we're going to talk about that as well, because this whole new job thing, big time lie. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to tell you the type of jobs that they're talking about. It's the same thing that the Obama administration did. And it's the same type of jobs that ain't going to be worth shit in this current inflated economy. Okay. So these jobs that they're talking about, you're going to need about 5 of them just to have a decent lifestyle. All right. If there's ever, brothers and sisters, if there's ever been a time to have some, and I'm not saying that you have to be a business owner, but if there's ever been a time to have an entrepreneurial mindset, even while working for other people, the time is now.
Trouble for the feds fight to curb inflation. The Alec Murdaugh double murder trial, the courtroom clash over evidence of his alleged financial crimes, and the son of the housekeeper who died mysteriously in the Murdaugh home taking the stand. The scare at Newark Airport, 2 planes clipping wings. The investigation. The suspect arrested in the theft of rare monkeys from the Dallas Zoo and the other incidents he's suspected in. And the small American town with a big gift to help the people of Ukraine.
Wow, man, they still helping Ukraine out. I can't make this shit up, man.
This is NBC Nightly News with Lester Holt.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us. Americans in the middle of the country craning their necks to the sky today, hoping to catch a glimpse of what the U.S. military says is a Chinese surveillance balloon flying some 11 miles above the country. The Pentagon saying China has violated U.S. airspace, rejecting the Chinese claim that it is a civilian airship that went off course. Officials saying tonight the balloon is likely somewhere over Kansas after sightings over Montana yesterday. It's journey, potentially taking it near sensitive military sites. The White House considering and for now rejecting a plan to shoot down the balloon, fearing.
Now, we all know, or at least some of us do, that this is an invasion of our privacy, okay? From another country. Let's forget about the fact that our own government has been surveilling us and tracking us and everything we do to bring about this one world order beast system. But now you got China flying over the damn skies blatantly in plain sight, and they're not doing nothing about it. Why? Because of this lie.
Collateral damage from falling debris. Still, some lawmakers took.
So basically, they worry about collateral damage by falling debris. Right. Listen, first of all, they could blow this thing in the sky to where all the debris doesn't even fall on land. That's number one. Number two, like I said earlier in the broadcast, our geriatric pedo president, that's what I'm gonna start calling him, the pedo president. Our geriatric pedo president, he is so knee deep, man. He is waist deep in cahoots with China on so many different things.
Tonight, urging a more aggressive response. The Pentagon is tight-lipped about the balloon's capabilities, saying only it does not present a military or physical threat to people on the ground. Courtney Cubey begins our coverage from the Pentagon.
The suspected Chinese spy balloon is on the move over the continental U.S., though the Pentagon won't reveal its exact location, track, or speed, flying near U.S. military assets along the way.
I'm not going to be able to go into specific locations again, other than to say it's moving eastward at this time.
This footage captured by the NBC News affiliate in Kansas City appearing to show the balloon. NBC News has not verified the video. Pilots also reporting a derelict balloon adrift in the area. The U.S. military first detected the surveillance balloon in Alaska earlier this week, tracking it through Canada and into Montana, spotted less than 200 miles from the U.S. intercontinental ballistic missile silos. On Wednesday, President Biden decided not to bring it down after senior military leaders warned debris could hit people on the ground. It's roughly the size of 2 school buses, and defense sources say flying at 60,000 feet. While U.S. officials say it doesn't currently threaten commercial aviation or civilians, they are not ruling out taking it down.
Eventually, I think we're going to have to shoot this thing down, and I know the Pentagon is working those options.
Listen, nonsense, okay? This is just serving as a distraction, but I think that the way they're playing it, as far as the way that they are describing it, is also a bunch of shenanigans in regards to the fact that you have a situation right now where war is imminent, okay? Especially during a time whenever there is a form of economic reform, recession, depression. And I believe that we are going through all of that in a very, very subtle way for now. And the emphasis on for now. But the way this country is being broken down as far as infrastructure is quite amazing, because they're doing it very strategically. And one of the ways that they're doing it is with the economy. Let's not forget the fact that a lot of the banks, what the banks are doing right now, if you've seen the videos, the banks are taking people's checking accounts and savings account money, wiping it out to basically pay off debt, and reinvesting it to try to build some type of revenue and income for them. And that's why you have people, especially with the Bank of America, which I recently just cashed a check with them. It was sent to me, but they was like, do you want to open up a checking account here? I said, hell to the no, twice, because sooner than later, people, you are going to see people doing a lot of crazy stuff. Because when people can't get their money, you see savage-like behavior from a multitude of people that normally you would not think are savage-like, but play with their money and see what happens. But my point is that throughout history, whenever there is great economic depression, reform, whatever, right, we go into war. And the powers that shouldn't be do this to gain money, to make it profitable, to fill in some debt that they're constantly always creating. Anyway, for every dollar we spend, we owe $1. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind when considering this thing with this balloon. Because what's the purpose for the balloon? The purpose is to surveil. And at a high altitude, you can get a bird's eye view of pretty much everything. And it's not just surveilling the land. It's probably recording conversations and all that. Now, people would say, a lot of people say, well, our major concern needs to be TikTok too, because the Chinese government is getting so much information from TikTok. All of the social media platforms are collecting data. We should be worried about freaking Google and Facebook too. And quite frankly, in my own personal opinion, I like TikTok. TikTok shows me a lot of love. And maybe it's because I know that this place called the United Shenanigans of America is about a bunch of bullshit and a legacy of lies. Plain and simple. So maybe China thinks that that's pretty cool that I talk about that because they don't like the United Shenanigans of America either. And by the way, shout outs to all my TikTokers that follow the network of awareness. We just hit over 20,000 likes and we just went over 2,200 followers. So salute to y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because most of the people that follow me on TikTok, with the exception of a few people, they really about like this truth and bringing it out. They're not caught up in the status quo nonsense that unfortunately a lot of people are still pretty much stuck in this mindset. So let's continue and I'll talk more about this because what I'm also going to bring out, and speaking of TikTok, I'm going to play an audio in regards to what the government has really been doing while we've been focusing on all of these shenanigans.
And we'll present them with the president.
NBC News has learned the U.S. is already taking action to weaken its surveillance capabilities, according to two senior defense officials, including using counterintelligence measures to obscure its views and physically moving things out of its path. Some balloons have the ability to release drones or sensors, but U.S. officials insist that has not happened here. This balloon has a large payload, but the Pentagon says there is no evidence of any nuclear or radioactive material. Today, the Chinese government admitting it's theirs, but saying it's a civilian airship used for research, mainly meteorological. The Pentagon disagrees.
The fact is, we know that it's a surveillance balloon, and I'm not going to be able to be more specific than that.
The Biden administration saying it's a clear violation of law. But the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs insists, quote, China is a responsible country and is always strictly abided by international laws.
So, Courtney, this balloon is allowed to continue traveling. How long could it remain over the U.S.?
A Pentagon spokesperson said today the balloon will probably be over the U.S. for a few days. U.S. officials here will continue to watch it to see if it begins to present a threat and they need to act. And late tonight, the Pentagon saying they now believe there is a second Chinese balloon that is floating over Latin America. Lester?
Courtney Cuby at the Pentagon. Thank you. And this incident is already having a serious ripple effect with the Secretary of State postponing a trip to China at a time of rising tensions between the two countries. Andrea Mitchell has that part of the.
And this is all by design, okay? This was brought out well in advance about the type of relationship that was going to be had with China. So all this thing where it seems like it's turmoil, it really isn't. It's just demons and principalities working through humanoids to bring about destruction and to bring about the one world order beast system. Because if there's anything that America, as far as the powers that shouldn't be here, what they want is they want the equivalent. They pretty much want to emulate China when it comes to how China operates. China is a communist country, but China really is tyranny on steroids because they pretty much have everything under surveillance. It is a social credit score system that they operate. So depending on your attitude in the state, you're going to be ranked at a certain level in society. Depending on how much debt you have that you owe to the government, you'll be only allowed to do certain things, if anything. If you have if you have CACA 19, then you might be restricted to stay in your damn home for the rest of your life. So there's so many other things I could talk about in regards to how China operates. It is tyranny on steroids. And this current administration, but not even just this administration, because the government itself here, many of the powers that shouldn't be want that type of system here. They want full control because with with full control. And that's why they're gearing to this digital currency, doing this EV electrical vehicle nonsense, which a lot of people are starting to realize is not the way to go. Just saw a video on Instagram, or one of the brothers, I think it was Brother Bond. They were sharing a video about how this guy's had a truck, an EV truck, and he spent 40 minutes. Okay, check this out. 40 minutes to charge up a certain, I think 98 miles of travel, and spend over $20 or just about $20 or under it, 19 something, and spend 40 minutes for that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, who wants to do that when they could just go gas up in 2 minutes or less and go about their way? It's nonsense. But like a lot of lazy ass Americans do here, that always are talking shit, they get into things without doing their proper research. And then they wind up regretting it. And that's most of society here. They don't do no research. They're lazy as hell. They always go by what other people tell them without even looking into it. Oh yeah, this is a nice neighborhood. Oh, let's move into the neighborhood. Next thing you know, they get robbed. Stuff like that happens all the time because people here are so egoically driven. They don't have time to research anything because they're too busy being lovers of themselves.
The story.
That Chinese spy balloon blowing up Secretary of State Tony Blinken's high-stakes trip to China.
In light of China's unacceptable action, I am postponing my planned travel this weekend to China.
Blinken.
Oh, really? Oh, so you're going to go next week, right? These dudes are clowns, man. I'm telling you, this government is worse than the WWE, man. This is like the greatest show on the planet, this government, especially when it comes to this particular administration. And we're going to talk about what they're focusing on while they're having you focus on this bullshit.
Would have been the first Secretary of State to visit China in 6 years. Now calling it off, even though he was expected to meet with China's President Xi Jinping to smooth relations at a time of historic tensions. The two superpowers at odds over China's support for Vladimir Putin in Ukraine. Threat.
Bingo, bango, winner, winner, chicken dinner. See, this right here, when it comes to the rising tensions between the U.S. and China, Russia and Ukraine, it's a big problem. And it's being done purposely, people, purposely. And this third world war is going to be between Russia, China, and the U.S. and their allies. That's what's going to happen. And it's inevitable. It's only a matter of time. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it is going to happen because the scriptures talks about this. And there's nothing, when the Most High is bringing out truth, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time, but it's going to happen. Even Notre Dame even predicted this because they know what's going to happen. Satan is kind of setting the stage because he's allowed to show you what's going to happen. So this thing ain't going nowhere, especially with this thing with Ukraine. And what's even more sad is how people support this nonsense out here when it comes to this, especially on YouTube. It's disgusting. Let's continue.
It's against Taiwan, North Korea's nuclear program, trade, and China's spying on the U.S.
We have to send a very clear signal to China that this is unacceptable.
Experts say it's no...
Yeah, you know how you send a clear signal that this is unacceptable? You blow that shit out the sky. Done deal. That'll let them know, like, hey, this is unacceptable. So we're going to blow up your balloon. It's done. It's over. Don't do it again because we'll blow that one up too before it even gets here. We might blow it up on your part of the land. But no. That's not what they're doing. But to the nucleus of this, because this is alarming. Let's not get it twisted. This is alarming. I truly believe that this is surveillance for an imminent war. And this is just a strategy on how to go about bringing that war and what places to hit first. That's just my opinion, people. Okay. I'm going to use the famous YouTube word, allegedly. Allegedly. All right, let's continue.
Coincidence, China launched its spy balloon the same week the U.S. announced new military bases in the Philippines, 100 miles from Taiwan.
Shout outs to all my Philippine listeners on the Network of Awareness. Appreciate y'all.
To deter an invasion.
What are the other consequences that China should have to take for these actions? What are the opportunity costs of not meeting with the Chinese and with the Chinese president?
I can only imagine what the reaction would be in China if they were on the other end. As I said, job one is getting it out of our airspace.
Key Republicans say canceling Blinken's trip is not a strong enough response. Do you think the U.S. should have shot down the balloon or taken action against it in the last couple of days?
I do. We're talking about defending our sovereign airspace. And I don't think the Chinese Communist Party would hesitate to shoot down an American asset that would.
Exactly. They wouldn't hesitate in a heartbeat. That's why I'm telling y'all people, this is all planned. Okay. This balloon should have been shot a long time ago, but it's the same thing with 9/11. Those planes weren't shot down. They were allowed to run amok. Why? Because they had these practice, warfare exercises, and they didn't know, supposedly, allegedly, they thought that was another exercise, and they couldn't tell the difference between the two. But let's not forget that Dick Cheney was the one that said, no, NORAD, you're not allowed to go out there. And he put the hammer down and it was done. And that's what brought about those planes hitting. And then the demolition blast to seal the deal.
It was in their airspace.
And Andrew, as you pointed out, there's a lot for these two sides to talk about. Does Secretary Blinken have plans to reschedule the China trip?
Well, Lester, he says he still wants to make the trip, but he won't say what China has to do now to make that possible. Although China has sent spy balloons over the U.S. before, officials say never lingering over the U.S. for so long. And just as America's top diplomat was leaving for Beijing to meet with China's president. Lester.
Right. Andrea Mitchell, thank you. Let's turn now to the weather and that.
Okay, so yeah, this weather thing is insane. But let's go to something here, because I have something here on TikTok, and
for years Stu is one of them, and I never for years Stu is one of them.
Okay, so let me pull this up here, and sometimes it's hard for me to.
I never for years Stu is one of them.
Why does it keep doing that? Let's mute this for now until I pull it up here. So we're gonna mute. Let's see if it works.
I never ever thought I would talk about this on the air, but I feel compelled to tell you that season.
Just remember.
All right. Okay. Just remember. Do you remember the time when China was surveilling? Do you remember the time? So I'm going to play a video that's in my archives, and I'm looking for it. Where's my archive stuff? For some reason, like they make the desktop app so freaking confusing to pull up stuff, because there's a video that was shared, and I'm trying to find it here. Just give me 1 second, people. Where the hell's the saved videos? Saved videos, where are you? Let's see here. Now, I'm going to have to figure this out because, okay, I think it's right here. Now, basically, what I'm going to play here is I'm going to play a couple of things. Now, there was a video that was showing us. Okay, here it goes. Okay, good. So this first video is going to talk about what the geriatric pedo president's administration has been focusing on. Now, this is what's really going on. While we're distracted with all of the shenanigans, Ukraine, they got the weather wars going on. They got this balloon that everybody's looking up in the sky for now with their telescopes and all that. This is what's really going on. And let me tell you something. This satanic agenda, especially with this administration in particular, has been so it's been like in our face, constant, like a barrage of punches. And I mean, it's just so consistent, man. It just never ends. It really doesn't. So we're going to play something here, and let's make sure that it comes out.
Come here. While you're watching the weather balloon, don't worry about this. Just keep watching the weather balloon, okay? The spy balloon, whatever the hell it is. Don't watch this. Don't watch it.
There's dollars spent on things that don't even make sense that they've been spent on. So, Mr. Dodaro, if you don't mind answering a few of my questions, can you tell me, as our comptroller of the United States, how much COVID cash was given to abortion?
I do not know that answer. I don't have that answer.
Oh, okay. So I can tell you Planned Parenthood clinics received $80 billion in COVID relief loans, which is hard to understand how that happened. Mr. Dodaro.
$80 billion to basically kill the essence and the closest thing to what physically emulates the spirit and the image that the Most High created us in, being a newborn baby. Okay. The innocence. And one thing that these demons love to do, these satanic cabal, demonic, malevolent worshipers do, is they love destroying the innocents, because that is the biggest thing that they could do as far as when it comes to spiritual warfare within this realm. That is the biggest violation that they can successfully complete. This is the one that they take the most joy in. So while, like the brother was saying, while we're distracted at looking at this balloon, this is where your COVID-19 relief went to. This is where the funds went to. $80 billion to Planned Parenthood. And you see, this is why you can't believe shit here, because the Republicans, along with the Supreme Court, got everybody thinking like, yay, no more abortions. They made it illegal in certain states and all that. Yeah, in certain states. But don't think that they're not going to still have abortions in those states, because they now have developed a very, very sophisticated pill, okay, that's now in the market that women can take, and it's guaranteed to give you an abortion. Guaranteed. And it used to be several pills, because I know a woman that did this a couple of years ago that had an abortion by taking pills. But now they got it to where they got this one super pill that's coming into the market. But there still are states that have Planned Parenthood and are allowed to conduct abortions. And that's where the $80 billion went to.
Aro, can you tell me how much money COVID cash went towards diversity, equity, and inclusion or racism issues?
Again, we have not looked at that issue, so I don't know.
Oh, geez. Well, I can tell you the Pennsylvania Humanities Council did receive $1.4 million in relief and use it for equity and geographic diversity.
Now, one of the reasons why I was giving a shout out to Don DeSantis here on the Network of Awareness, like I normally do, is because our governor here in Florida be doing his thing. And what he noticed, everybody was like, oh, he canceled the critical race theory classes to teach about racism and all that because he don't like black people and he don't like African Americans. And it's so far from the truth. The reason why he decided to not go with that satanic agenda, because in these classes, they're teaching in this critical race theory what they're really teaching on the back end of it. And they're not even teaching it correctly, okay? Because the whole thing with racism, the whole thing with the way slavery is taught here and all that, it's all a big sham. It's all a big lie, okay? That's been a fact for a while. It's been brought out. And a lot of you people that are listening need to wake up to that, because a lot of you people still stuck on this color code bullshit. And we're in a more, supposedly a more advanced society, a more well-informed society. But if you're lazy, you're not going to realize this, that we've subjected ourselves for quite some time as colors in a crayon box. If that's not insanity, I don't know what is. And it's something I've been talking about since I first started this show. I do not identify with a color. What I do identify with is that I am a man of the Most High, which makes me that image of our Heavenly Father that created me to be everything that ever was and will be through him, as the conduit within this realm, as the form of expression, as the vessel for his purpose, just like you. So all this nonsense on saying that Governor DeSantis threw this out because it was going to teach people to have more respect for so-called black people, it's a bunch of nonsense. It was going to teach your children to accept pedophilia. It was going to teach your children to basically gravitate towards being gender binary, gender fluid, okay, androgynous, or homosexual, heterosexual, or both, or bisexual. This is what this stuff was going to be teaching. And this is not coming from me. This is a fact. This is written within the critical race theory documents that they were going to implement here in Florida. But they're still implementing them in other states. So that's why he did that. And this just further proves that they gave a shitload of money for that type of, if you even want to call it education, but let's call it what it is. Let's call it misinformation, miseducation.
Not sure how that helped in a pandemic time. Mr. Dodaro, can you tell me how much COVID cash went to CRT?
CRT?
critical race theory in education. It's a racist curriculum used to teach children that somehow their white skin is not equal to black skin and other things in education.
Yeah. No, I do not know that, but I do know that there's provisions that the federal funds generally are not used, are supposed to be used for curriculum.
Oh,
it's a state.
Oh, Mr. Dodaro, I have to tell you.
Why is it that, okay, and she's right. See, a lot of people think that here's a white lady that is being a Karen. Now, she is a Karen for other things. But this is the big lie, people, because this is how Satan operates. As long as we are divided as human beings amongst each other based on the complexions of our skin, we will never get to salvation. Plain and simple. We are never going to get closer to the Most High like this, because the Most High don't talk about no damn black, white, yellow, brown, or red inside the scriptures. Okay. There are people, there are nations, but we are all under the one nation of the Most High. Okay. Because only the Most High can create. So if we are all spiritual beings having a freaking physical experience, where the hell do we all come from? We all come from the Most High. This is why I feel like people have become somewhat retarded these days in regards to this understanding. But let's continue.
In Illinois, they received $5.1 billion at an elementary school there that used it for equity and diversity. So it's being used for these things. Mr. Dodaro, can you tell me how much money was given to Drag Queen Story Hour?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Drag Queen Story Time, where men dress up as women and read confusing books to children.
Yeah, first I thought you said...
Now, before I even say anything, listen to his response. Listen, this is what I don't understand. How is it that the person that is supposed to be the spokesperson for the government in regards to this funding, supposed to give you accurate data and information, don't know shit? He don't know nothing. Every question she asked him, he didn't have an answer for, but he got a funny answer. This is what he thought she said.
The dry clean.
He thought she said dry clean. Oh man, you can't make this up, people. This is the world we live in. This is why I feel so uncomfortable here. And I'm not just talking about the United States. This is why I feel uncomfortable on this planet, because it's like, if you can't see that we're living in these days of revelations, then you need to get up on it, because the days of revelations are here. Okay. Spiritual warfare is revealing itself to be as real as water and air, people. Now, I like this clip that I'm going to play here. This is from a brother who is going to basically let this administration know that they are full of shit. This is in some type of council hall at a college. Check this out.
Yeah, I always talk about how corrupt and lying you are. 50 years in Harlem is still fucked up, right? People are slumped over.
So this is a dude from New York, okay? So listen how he slaughters them. You know, he's just going on a rant, but he's making a lot of sense. And in the info box, it says, New Yorkers escorted out after addressing concerns during a meeting with their Democratic district leader, their Democratic district leader, Republican Democratic district leader Representative Adriano Espaillat. Okay. All these people, I don't care from the lower level to the upper level, they all full of shit, people. They all stick to the agenda, because if they don't have a job anymore. And what I like about the science appliance is the science appliance, especially even within my family, within other people's family, what the science appliance did, in my opinion, it got to put a spotlight like never before on people in this country that are really full of shit, that have really been playing the game and acting like they so important, like they know so much, and like they're so righteous and all of that. And the science appliance threw all out the window. It was like, oh yeah, you really about that? And everybody started getting exposed for their bullshit. And this brother right here is going to let loose on these Democrats in New York.
125th Street, guess what? They are slumped over and dying, and you are doing nothing about it. You don't see Adam Clayton
said, this is not January 6th. This is people. This is the smoke and mirrors media mixed with propaganda pimping. He said, this is not January 6th. What does you giving billions of dollars to Ukraine when Americans, especially not even just the poor, okay, but now you have the middle class Americans that had somewhat of a decent lifestyle. And I say somewhat because we're all enslaved. I'm enslaved, you're enslaved, but had somewhat of a decent lifestyle that now we are becoming the impoverished. We are becoming the poor. And you over here, if there's ever been a smack in the face, is when they send billions upon billions of dollars to Ukraine, while people in here got a check for like $700 to $1,200, depending if you had children, you had some more. And that was considered your relief. But they send billions upon billions of dollars to people in a freaking country in Europe. Okay, just think about that for a sec. But he wants to say this is not January 6th. And this is what they do, people. And, you know, I got to say, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, they give you a bunch of nonsense, but they do it in a little bit more respectable way. The Democratic Party, they're just gangster with it. I mean, literally. And the fact that he even brought this up, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. This is not January 6th. But let's continue.
Mr. Espaillat, why don't you talk about the fact that people are dying in Harlem? I'm not going to stop unless you address me. Mr. Espaillat, how many people have died because of open-air drug trading because of you and Schumer? How many people have died, huh? You are responsible for the death of thousands of people here in Harlem. There's a housing crisis, a homeless crisis. You have done nothing. You are utterly useless. And guess what? Now we are on the verge of World War III with Russia.
See, he's bringing it all out. He's bringing it all out. And listen, there is a housing crisis and there is a homelessness crisis that's increasing because middle class America is now not able to afford to live in this country, people. So they got to resort to surviving in the streets, all done by design. So while we're looking up to say, hey, it's a bird, it's a plane. No, it's China. It's a balloon. All of this other shit is going down. And war is imminent, people.
If you've done nothing, you've only made things worse, and everybody's going to end up dead. We're on the verge of nuclear war. Even if you know. Congressman, what are you going to tell the people in your district that Germany has just declared war and NATO on Russia? Are you going to tell your district that we're on the brink of a nuclear war with Russia? Because guess what? A nuclear war will fuck a lot of things up. Or are you going to actually do something for this district? What are you going to think of going to Russia? That is the most important thing. That we could have
So the guy already got escorted. She took up the podium and started talking. And I like this energy. You know what I mean? Now, I don't believe in protesting. I think it's a waste of time. But I like the fact, especially my fellow New Yorkers, that, you know, I say it all the time. I'm glad I left New York. New York has become, especially New York City, it's become like, I don't even have words for what New York City has become. New York City has always been hectic, but in the last 25 years, people, the way New York has become with just so much perversion, it was perverted way before, but it's perversion on steroids these days. And especially when Gaga 19 came out, it got even far worse than it already was. But I'm at least happy to know that there are people that are seeing what the real deal is. They're no longer sleeping. They're no longer in a coma while all this corruption and deceit is being played out right before our eyes.
Well, we love her too. And you have a way of sending all of my tax money to Ukraine.
That's right. Nobody asked. Nobody said, hey, we should go send money to Ukraine. They're the ones that decided to do that. But you know what we're busy doing? Looking at a damn balloon that we can't do shit about while they're doing all this other stuff. People, be aware and be prepared, because it's not a bird. It's not a plane. It's a balloon to probably surveil what's going to be happening in the very near future in the next couple of years as far as war coming upon this country, because they got to bring this country down. This country has to fall in order for the one world beast system to come into fruition, to come about. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, I'm going to end off with some music. And before I go, I just want to say that, you know, when you live in the present, there's always an opportunity for a new beginning. And don't look for the light at the end of the tunnel, because the light is and always will be within you. So light up the tunnel and find your way through the darkness. This is all the informationalists saying peace, love, and light, and all praises to the Most High, the Heavenly Father, our great Creator, and His Heavenly Son, the Most High in Christ, Yah, the Messiah, baby. Be faithful. Have that unwavering faith. Faith over fear all day, every day. Let's go.
You are now tuned in to the Network of Awareness.
A new age has begun. An age of freedom. 300 Spartans gave their last breath to defend it.
When the light has faded and darkness is abroad, the light is only dim because the darkness teaches us lessons that need to be learned in order for one to move forward. Embrace the darkness, for the darkness is your friend. So there is no end. It's only an illusion to what has been. Follow the light and let the spirit embark on a flight to a destination unknown, but to a place where love is the building blocks that call this place home. We are always accompanied on this journey, but still feel alone. It is never the same journey or experience that is ever shown. It is your imagination that awakens the passion that will weather the storm, because it is the pure compassion in the soul that is vigorous and strong. We're one with eternity, so let's be connected to the positive stream that allows us to fulfill our infinite destiny, most definitely. Let's strive to be the best people we can be with a power that is humanly new to see. So mistaken dismay can lead us astray, so let us stay, for it is our free will that allows us to make a choice. So I choose Yahweh with no delay.
I done made mistakes on purpose to divide the worth from the worthless. Reveal the facts to be certain. No pain, no gain in the verses. My faith been alive before churches, cause Yah is person, I'm person. So I'm worried about complicated versions, cause the call to divine divergence. I'm still hurting, soul searching, networking and murking. Anytime think I drop my curtain, with a spirit that city suburban. I'm seriously merging and physically working on my purpose to lyrically service the mental malnourished until I perish.
Yahweh's gonna save the awakened, then take him to an ageless haven. Patient, I can't stray away, gotta keep obliterating the pavement. Still remember that day on the phone, Mark, he said, yo, don't you take your foot off the gas, always something to give y'all praises.
We're the dark oasis, for countless cases, a peak of faithless, I'ma need the patience, defeat them chases, we seek his graces, for true salvation, we keep on praising, we go on blazing these revelations, cease to hate, no altercations, good vibrations, we back to basics, to build foundations, y'all defeated Satan. I done made mistakes on purpose, to divide the worth from the worthless, reveal the facts to be certain, no pain, no gain in the verses, my faith been alive before churches, cause Yah is person, I'm person, so I'm worried about complicated versions, cause the call to divine divergence, I'm still hurting, soul searching, networking and murking, anytime think I drop my curtain, with a spirit that city suburban, I'm seriously merging, and physically working on my purpose, to lyrically service, the mental malnourished until I perish, people pursuing acts of violence, their persistent act of defiance, freely forming a righteous alliance, truly against the science appliance, on a mission with wisdom and guidance, steady defeating the ignorant science, healing convicted and non-compliant, spiritual wars that move in silence.
Let's talk about what matters, drop the vanity, folks out here losing their sanity, kids popping off lost in fantasies, people grieving over loss of family, the evil that be with the power, turning the people with credence to cowards, seeking to seize believers with bows, man even Stevie can see that it's foul.
I done made mistakes on purpose, to divide the worth from the worthless, reveal the facts to be certain, no pain, no gain in the verses, my faith been alive before churches, cause Yah is person, I'm person, so I'm worried about complicated versions, cause the call to divine divergence, I'm still hurting, soul searching, networking and murking, anytime think I drop my curtain, with a spirit that city suburban, I'm seriously merging, and physically working on my purpose, to lyrically service, the mental malnourished until I perish.
Depression gone with every song, music led by another echelon,
to get you strong, keep pressing on, long after we dead and gone,
from dusk till dawn, we're righteously armed with spiritual lessons from Yah,
we where we belong, we keeping on, the righteous with third of Zion,
records embellished with heavenly eloquence,
Elohim's presence presently evident,
intricate elements, infinite intelligence,
spiritual specimens lyrically resonant,
the gift was inheritance, smaller percentages,
carefully measured and meant to be shared,
with the message projected, cemented, embedded,
the sensible question is what will you get from it? I made mistakes on purpose, to divide the worth from the worthless, reveal the facts to be certain, no pain, no gain in the verses, my faith been alive before churches, cause Yah is person, I'm person, so I'm worried about complicated versions, cause the call to divine divergence, I'm still hurting, soul searching, networking and murking, anytime think I drop my curtain, with a spirit that city suburban, I'm seriously merging, and physically working on my purpose, to lyrically service, the mental malnourished until I perish.
You've seen him, you know how strong he is. You can't win!
Sticking to the man, still sticking to the man. Revolutionary, getting litty with the fan. Yeah, I be on my grizzy, getting busy for the plan. Ask me why I did it, yo, I did it cause I Nothing gonna stop me, finna hit them till they can't take it anymore. They gon' give us our demand. Youth gon' rise up, stick it to the man. I'ma rage till I die, cause this is who I am. Get up out my way, I'm coming through with the squad. I could never lose, cause I'm moving with God.
Shout out to the free, baby, let's go.
But there's too many of us and we all true to the cause. Che Guevara in my starter, rage against the machine. Fight the power, take tomorrow back and wipe the slate clean. We ain't gon' cower to these cowards, we gon' stand for what's right. Get hype in this mug while we spreading the light. Where my soldiers at? Get it going, we gon' show them we ain't cheap. Yo, it's over, overthrow they ass. Let them know you mad, bring it to them right where they stay. Don't trip, take the chip, love wins at the end of the day. Stick it to the man, stick it to the man. Revolutionary, getting litty with the fam. Yeah, I be on my grizzy, getting busy for the plan. Ask me why I did it, yo, I did it cause I can't. Nothing gonna stop me, finna hit them till they can't take it anymore. They gon' give us our demand. Youth gon' rise up, stick it to the man. I'ma rage till I die, cause this is who I am. Fat cats eating while the rest of us starve. We can't have that, fed up, get ready for war. Can't have fast revolution doing the most. We won't go quiet, don't listen to us, you talk. We done playing with you, it ain't a game, yo, we making history. Baby, fuck the fame, I wanna change the system. Break your prison, got the key for the lock. Won't stop till we free and my people on top. On God, homie, is you really with us, so what? You bout make a decision, get busy living, so out for the real thing. You are what you do. Who are you? I'm definitely and I came to rule. Stick it to the man, stick it to the man. Youth gon' rise up, stick it to the man. Youth gon' rise up, stick it to the man. Youth gon' rise up, stick it to the man. Run up in the Senate, niggas ice. Think you getting over on us, but you not. The system has been rigged, the government's been bought. The house don't represent us, it represents the ops. Stand with standing by, take the man right out. God damn it, we ain't having what you handing out. We want clean air, clean food, water. A future for our kids, bitch, this a new order. Tear down the wall, love is for all. Death to the man in the system we call. Freedom ain't free if you can't breathe. Real people stay woke, we ain't gon' sleep. Get it crackin', packin' activism. A full clip, show them crackers we ain't having all that bullshit. The aristocracy is gonna share starting now. Stick it to the man, pull the trigger. Wow, stick it to the man. Stick it to the man. Stick it to the man. Stick it to the man.
Stick it to the motherfucking man.
Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side.
Shout out to brother Julian, aka Demon Slayer.
Christ, throwing down imaginations. I'm just trying to stay patient. Stand fast, can't wait. Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Dodging demons like the Matrix. I'm just trying to go home. Swore made it that truth. So I just gotta move on. Ready for war, ready for death if it go like that. So if I die, I pray that I die for the most I got. I can't turn around, I can't look back, so it's all I want. I'm seeing the path so narrow, careful to not fall. Get up for it's too late. Sun come with a blaze with a judgment. In that day won't see where the sun went all black like sackcloth and the moon blood. This is a warning to go and repent. This is a warning to seek out the lamb. This is the point where you go and examine. Gotta stay patient, I'm looking inside. Trust the Most High with all of my life. I love all my brothers, we suffer with Christ. When it feel like death, just know that it's life. Don't give up, Christ paid that price. Don't give up, Christ paid that price. Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Taking my thoughts and bringing to Christ. Throwing down imaginations. I'm just trying to stay patient. Stand fast, can't wait. Yeah, we ready for war. Moving on one accord. Brethren at my side. We just gotta endure. Dodging demons like the Matrix. I'm just trying to go home. Swore made it that truth. So I just gotta move on.
Down, 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 it all comes. Down, down, down.
You are now tuned in to the network of awareness.
Down, 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 it goes all the way. It goes all the way. It goes all the way. Crashing down, crashing down. It all goes left before it goes right, but that's life, so you know how it goes, right? Tell you I done been through the mud and the dark nights. Always had a flow, but I've been through the bar fights. Not a big dog, but I got a big bite. Always been fly, I've been known to take flight. Learned all my lessons, never make mistakes twice. Never dim my shine, cause I've always been bright. Always been nice with the hands, so I know how to break a nigga down. Just in case a nigga come around, I'm ready. Once you get a nigga mental in that zone, I'm deadly. That's why I prefer to be left alone. You can't really tame a beast that is meant to roam feast. As long as my heart beats like a metronome. Graduated from the streets with a cap and gown. Even I know what goes up will come crashing down. Down, 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 it all comes. Down, 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 it all comes. Down, 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 it goes all the way. It goes all the way. It goes all the way. Crashing down, crashing down.
Have you hated or ever been hated on? Watch how I debate this while I go and play the song. Am I wrong or am I right? While I'm writing, see it was written. Ha, I knocked him out like I was Tyson. Ain't no tie, son, I've been down, down. See, I've been spitting for a minute. I am different, I'm the one. They say I'm gifted. I just want the big money to go and match the lyrics. Ha, and then you crash, burn, feeling like life cheated you from your last turn. Feeling like I was a bad sperm from the ex, bugging with the heat, yeah, mash burn. They notice the way I talk. I think they really hate me cause they know I'm from New York. I adolescent and caught. I swear I made it a sport. A Bronx nigga for sure. Spiraling down. Now fuck out of here.
Down, down, it all comes. Down, 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 it all comes. Down, 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 it goes all the way. It goes all the way. It goes all the way. Crashing down, crashing down.
Please just tell me what's happening to me in plain English without the mumbo jumbo.
You are now tuned in to the network of awareness.
But they don't want how you learn. No. They want everybody the same. They don't want to see that proper growth and development. Expanding my brain so I can learn what I can. All because of how you learning. Learning knowledge that I never thought I would. You get me, yeah. Cause of how you learning. They don't want nobody having that knowledge. Waking up in a different light, got my mind right. It took me time and time. It took just time to put it together. You know you not learning nothing when you second guessing. Because it all lies. They put us in school for 12 years plus. Got the nerve to give us a paper certificate. I've been watching quite some time. Finally that I see what's going on. Every time that I lay down. Yeah. I feel yeah, sad.
I'll start out my morning run about 6 o'clock. Not like I got a choice. It's just it's rough.
Trapped in a world where they don't want how you learn. No. They want everybody the same. They don't want to see that proper growth and development. Expanding my brain so I can learn what I can. All because of how you learning. Learning knowledge that I never thought I would. You get me, yeah. Cause of how you learning.
Remember 6 a.m. waking up to get to class. Now it be 5 a.m. I'm rising up to hit them laps. School never taught me to be this disciplined with myself. All praise to Yahweh, been Yahweh helping me with my health. The spirit keeps me up even though we all packed in the jungle. The elites be lying, they want you mentally trapped in a bubble. You see them smile on TV, always acting like they love you. Don't wanna see you rise up, they wanna see you ashen rough. I keep my acts in humbleness in hopes that the Lord will favor me even more. Cause he's the one that has my number. He's been my guide, he's made me wise. He's all I know until the end, I'm gonna grind.
looking up to the sky, trying to stay righteous with the storm on the side. The crown of life is my why. I'm asking Father, please help guide me to the light.
Trapped in a world where they don't want how you learn. No, they want everybody the same. They don't want to see that proper growth and development. Expanding my brain so I can learn what I can. All because of how you learning knowledge that I never thought I would. You get me, yeah, because of how you learning.
Let's go. You now tuned in to the live broadcast of the Network of Awareness.
ORRA is a network full of awareness and gifts like ORRA, the informational list.
Add it up.
Gifts like ORRA, the informational list.
Okay, alright. Add it up.